Hello and welcome to another episode of the Driven Shot podcast. My name is Peter Monema, also known as Barça DNA on Twitter, and today will be the match review between FC Barcelona and FC Seoul. Barcelona now 2 games into preseason, winning their second match by 7-3. Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, and Gavi all starring on a beautiful night in Seoul. Barcelona victorious once more, and without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, coming into this game, Barcelona had just begun their preseason tour, of course, winning 3-1 over Vissel Kobe, and now with the follow-up match in Korea against FC Seoul, Barca were looking to show really more dominance, looking to be a bit more proactive, a bit more sharp there, a bit more rhythm as well, show a greater degree of match fitness. And really in this game, I thought Hansi Flick and this Barcelona team really did show up with the right mindset, playing with a very aggressive style. Hansi Flick was not afraid to start strong, playing a team that many expect to debut for Barcelona at the start of the season away at Mallorca. For the most part, the only change that could be made potentially would be the change of Inigo Martinez starting over Ronald Araujo. But in general, from what we saw from that starting 11, I expect that to be the team that leads Barca's defense of La Liga to kick off the campaign away at Mallorca. But I have to say this, I was really impressed by some of the Barca players out there, of course, playing with a point to prove. One of them being Lamine Yamal, who was the star of the show in the first half. I think from his last game, you could tell that he was a bit rusty. His touches didn't quite come off. His dribbles weren't quite the same. He wasn't quite as flashy as we're used to seeing. And there was a little row on social media. Was Lamine Yamal perhaps weighed down by the Barca number 10 shirt? Was there too much pressure on him? Was there too much responsibility? All these questions. And Lamine Yamal, in typical Lamine Yamal fashion, does his talking on the pitch. I mean, he was absolutely fantastic in every facet of the game today. He was involved in all 3 of Barca's goals, beginning with the first goal for Lewandowski, where he's played in behind Lamine Yamal. 1v1, shifts inside, goes for goal, it's saved, or rather it's saved onto the post, and then Lewandowski, of course, gets the rebound, puts it in for a tap-in. It is 1-0 to Barcelona, and then shortly after, Lamine Yamal gets on the ball once more, running at his opponent, showing bravery, showing confidence. He does try to play a little back heel, it doesn't come off, but the ball comes right back to him, and I love in this moment the ruthlessness of Lamine Yamal. Calm, precise, fully focused, head down, picks up the ball, low-driven shot into the corner, firm hit. Goalkeeper tries his best but couldn't get enough on it, and Barca at that point were off and flying. Then, of course, we see Barcelona unfortunately throw away a 2-goal lead there. Credit to FC Seoul, who, similar to Vissel Kobe, played very well for the team of their level. They did not sit back and camp the box. They weren't dirty. They weren't trying to foul Barca for no reason. They generally tried to play football, and at times were actually able to escape Barca's press and build out of the back, and a few times they're getting behind. So credit to them and what they were able to deliver in this game, and credit to them for responding to a 2-goal deficit in their response. They did really well in coming back and scoring 2 goals unanswered to make it 2-2 before Lamine Yamal would cap off the first half with one of the best goals you're going to see across preseason. This was absolutely just glorious. Credit to Dani Olmo, who plays a really good ball to split the defense and release Lamine Yamal in behind. But in this position, Lamine Yamal still has a lot of work to do, and the touch he takes to absolutely break the defender's ankles was phenomenal. I mean, he sent him out of the stadium there. Lovely touch. Had his opponent doing a backflip on the floor. And then it's another degree of composure. He doesn't strike the ball right away. He doesn't rush anything. Once he cuts inside, he takes the other touch, composes himself, and delivers a brilliant finish. And you could tell by the reaction of the Barca players, especially Lewandowski, that they were really, really pleased with that goal. They thought it was a phenomenal one. And for me, I thought, again, it was brilliant. And it's typical. It's typical Lamine Yamal. It's just who he is as a player, as a person, flairful, a joy to watch. And what a cameo, what a first half. His first goals as the Barca number 10. Pressure, what pressure? Lamine Yamal is simply built different. Now, the second half, of course, comes into play here. And once more, it's important to address the fact that we've seen across preseason for Barca so far that the second half team looks and plays at a higher level than the team in the first half does. And I think that can have a factor to do with fitness and sharpness, and of course tiredness as the matches do wear on. But it was good to see that several players really did impress and make their mark. I want to give a shout out to a few players here. Beginning first with Fermin Lopez, who I thought had a very good game, a very quiet, underrated match, but I thought he played well, looked good on the ball. Also, it seems as if technically he's grown a bit in his game. Looked very, very good there in between the lines, good ball control, shifting, weaving in between players, and also playing in multiple roles, not only, playing advanced at times, but also at times dropping a little bit deeper, playing off to the side, supporting players, really giving an eye to Rooney Badaji and helping him out there to play 1-2s, run into space, receive the ball. And really, he played well, both with his back to goal and when he received the ball and had a chance to drive forward, to open up passing lanes. I thought he had a very good cameo there, so shout out to him. Likewise to Marc Asado, who I am so happy to have back in the midfield. He is such a general there in that position. A very good ball winner, someone who can distribute the ball across the lines, play some really good incisive passes. And today was no different. I thought he had a very good game there, marshaled the midfield well, and had a really good partnership there with Gavi. And of course, shout out to Ferran Torres, El Tiburon, the Shark, scoring a brace. And yet again, Ferran Torres really carrying on from where he left off last season. Finding pockets, finding a way to be a nuisance, finding gaps to exploit, finding space to score. Tonight was no different. Really, really good to see. I love that he always is willing to run, to stretch the pitch, to open up angles there for himself. And when he receives the ball, again, he's a very sharp player right now in front of goal, a player full of confidence, where he's willing to make little moves here, to cut inside, open up space, and then all of a sudden it's a quick shot and it's away. And I love that about him. He's quick, to the point, conviction, and took his goals today really, really well. I also want to give a shout out to Marcus Rashford, of course, getting his first assist in a Barca jersey and taking the time really to gain more match fitness. He is coming off of an injury, of course, when he was at Aston Villa. And now you can just see that he's growing into this team. He is going to need time to build that natural chemistry and bond with his teammates for them to know about his runs and where he wants to be on the pitch. But right now, I think he's tuning in well. I think he also has to adapt, of course, to the style at Barca and to how his teammates operate and how Hansi Flick wants him to operate. But it was good to see him today, even with the goal that Ferran Torres scored for the first time. Rashford found himself in a really, really good position and actively could have received the ball for a tap-in. So overall, he's doing very well. Now he's off and running, of course, getting his first assist in a Barca shirt. All of us await the first goal for Rashford in a Barcelona jersey. We cannot wait to have that moment to celebrate with him. But overall, again, good display from Rashford, and we'll see more of him, of course, during this tour. Now, for me personally, the star of the show, the player who I want to cover in absolute glory and adoration is going to be Gavi. What a player. What a performance. 45 minutes, but Gavi was absolutely just a joy. He was brilliant, and I mean it, brilliant in this game. I love the fact that he plays with such heart. He plays with passion. He always plays at 100%, gives his all every single time on the pitch. It's a preseason game, and yet you're seeing him jump and leap over players to win the ball, players who are much taller than he is. You're seeing him engage and knock players to the ground. You're seeing him throw himself into challenges. You're seeing him throw his head, his face, his body into challenges, not afraid to be kicked, not afraid to be hurt. He absolutely just loves being out there and defending the Blaugrana colors. And tonight really was a prime example of that. And I want to say this. For his goal, I love this about Gavi. And it tells me everything I need to know about the player we have on our hands here. He's trying, Gavi, in that moment, to play a 1-2 with Fermin Lopez to receive the ball and running behind there for a goal. Now, he plays the initial pass and doesn't get the return. But rather than perhaps sulking and being upset there with his teammate, he looks to where the ball lands and immediately gets himself into a position and demands the ball. He doesn't sulk, he doesn't throw his arm up in the air when things don't go his way. He simply goes, demands the ball, receives it, and I have to say, this is just fantastic. What he does here is spellbinding. He's calm, receives the ball, on his perhaps weaker side, his left side, lovely turn, and almost in one motion, turns away from his opponent, and what a clean strike on his left foot, his so-called weaker foot. Really good strike, low and hard, across the face of goal. It catches the keeper by surprise. He can't do enough to save it, and in the end, Gavi gets a goal to go with his assist. Another brilliant cameo, another showing of what he can do for us this season. And I think Gavi will give Hansi Flick all sorts of options, not only with his presence, but what he can do in terms of the shape that Barca can play with him, whether it's a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. I think Gavi, for me, is going to have a monstrous season. I expect him to be a prominent player for Barcelona, for Hansi Flick, and a player who I'm sure Flick cannot wait to utilize more in this upcoming campaign. I also want to give a shout out to Andreas Christensen for his just absolutely gorgeous screamer, of course, doing what he can to show the club that he belongs here and that he wants to be a part of this team going forward into next season. And tonight, that's the best way you show your value. Scoring goals, playing well, showing that you do deserve to be a part of the system, that you can fit in to the football that Flick wants to play. And I really do wish that for Andreas Christensen, that he has a really good season, that he can stay, of course, away from injuries and fatigue, but be a bit more of a part of this club. We know that when he's fit and firing, he is a top-class center back, and I expect him and hope for him to have a prominent role at some points under Hansi Flick. Good to see that Tony Fernandez and Gia got minutes as well. Good to see Rooney Badaji out there once more. Played really, really well. Should have had a penalty kick to his name, but referee didn't give it. And overall, really from Barcelona, it was a very sharp display. Shout out there to Jofe Torrens as well, who also did very well. Got himself an assist out there today. And Barcelona, 7-3 winners. I think the one concern that I would have is that across both preseason games, defensively, the shape has not been very good from Barca. It's been too easy for teams to breach the high lines, get in behind, to have 1v1 chances to score goals against us. I think Flick do have a lot of work to do with his staff to fix the shape that Barca has right now and the structure of the team, because really we're seeing what we saw last season, where this team can score lots of goals, can play really, really attractive and gorgeous football, and we all know that's brilliant to see. But defensively, if this team wants to go all the way, especially in the Champions League, you cannot continue to make the individual errors that we saw not only against Vissel Kobe, but tonight against FC Seoul. So Barcelona were great today, phenomenal, but still have some work to do. We will see you very, very shortly for Barca's third game of the preseason tour, the last game there over in Asia before Barca return to host the John Gamper against FC Como. So until then, thanks for watching, thanks for your time, thanks for being here, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, stay safe, and Visca Barça!